everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Ify. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the public charge rule, specifically going over the form, the I-944, that is now used when you're adjusting your status to show that you will not become a public charge in the future and you qualify for your green card. So stay tuned. All right, the question that triggered this topic today is, should I accept government benefits? If you're new to my channel, you know that I have my 4-question Friday going on every Friday. Don't miss that. But yeah, that question came up during one of my 4-question Fridays, so I decided to use it here to answer it today and also just go over in detail about the I-944, because I notice a lot of people are still, confused about it. It's a fairly new rule that started February 2020, so I can understand the confusion and concerns as to whether you can pass the public charge test and all of that. So I'm going to answer that question, should I receive government benefits, and then go into the I-944. Again, as a reminder, this channel, the videos on my channel are not legal advice. It's simply just tips and tools to help you succeed in immigration and life. So feel free to reach out to me if you have a serious immigration inquiry and you need a consultation on where to go next and what to do next, okay? So yeah, that's it for that. Now, should I receive government benefits? Yes and no. In certain circumstances, receiving government benefits will not count against you. Like if you're receiving benefits for emergency situation, or let's say you're pregnant and you're getting Medicaid to help you through your pregnancy, that type of government assistance will not count against you for public charge. But if you're receiving like food stamps, Medicaid, the TANF, or different types of public benefits, either cash benefits or food benefits or health benefits that you've received a long-term period over like 12 months, that could most likely affect your public charge. That could most likely affect your application for green card, and it will count as a negative factor to whether you become a public charge in the future. So my answer to that question is, don't accept public benefits if you can avoid it. If you have private health insurance to help you, or you have other means of acquiring assistance without receiving public benefits, just do that, because you don't want any complications when it comes time to getting your green card. Okay, I'm gonna quickly share my screen here with you to show you some of the questions that come on the I-944. It's a pretty lengthy form. I may not go over the entire thing today. I broke it up into 2, so we're going to do 2 or 3 parts, just talking about the different questions and how to answer them. And if you have any questions that come up while you're watching or listening, you can feel free to ask that in the comments, or just reach out to me with my contact, which is in the description below. So here we go. We're going to look quickly at a form I-944, like the first 3 parts, and I will briefly explain how you can answer questions in these parts. So the first part, part 1, is information about you. Here, the USCIS wants to know about your legal name, your current address. If you have an A number, they want to know that so they can quickly identify your files and stuff. The date of birth, your city of birth, place of birth, and all that good stuff. All this is just identifying information which you've most likely filled out in other forms, your I-45 or your I-130, all those forms, you've already answered this. So that should be pretty straightforward. You go into that, and then you get to part 2, is asking you your family status, about your household members. Excuse me. Take a drink here. All right. So part 2, family status. It's going to ask you questions about yourself and everyone else that lives in your household, or everyone else that is dependent on you on your taxes. There's different ways to look at it, because you might have a household member that you claim on your taxes, which is dependent, but maybe they don't live in the same address as you. For the purposes of this form and for immigration, it's best to put the names of everyone who is considered your household member for taxes. That is, they live with you and you also claim them on your taxes. So if you are the intended immigrant and maybe you don't file taxes, it will just be everyone on your spouse's tax information, or your parent, or whoever is filing your immigration for you at that time. So you're gonna have your name here. Number 1, you're the first person in relationship will be self. And you obviously will click yes, you will live with yourself. And that's how you answer that. Is this individual filing for immigration benefit with you? You just say yes, because this is just for you. But when you get down to number 2, the B part for your next family member, it'll depend. If your family member is already a US citizen or something, and they're not derivative applicants of some sort on your application, you'll put their names here, date of birth, how they're related to you. It could be your spouse, your child, your parent, or other individual, maybe your sister, or just an aunt or somebody. You can do other individual and just leave it at that, and indicate whether the person is going to be filing with you or whether they're just a household member. So you can say no for that. Then you go on and do this until you fill out everyone, and then indicate that number here, how many people are actually in the household. If there's more than 4 people, there's going to be provision at the end of the form to add the information for the family members that you were not able to fit here. So then we keep going, and then we get to part 3. Now part 3 is really, the big part of this application. That's where the USCIS is going to really look at your finances, evaluate all the finances of everyone in the household to see whether you, as the intended immigrant, will become a public charge in the future. Like, do you have enough money based on the amount of people living in your house and the amount of money coming in with your assets and everything, to ensure that if anything happens to you, like maybe you get sick, for example, you can take care of yourself without needing Medicaid or long-term care and stuff like that. That's what they'll look at in this part. So it's very important to speak with a lawyer, to go through it carefully, to make sure you're answering it correctly and putting in all the information they need. Here they're going to need the name of your household members and their tax information, which is, if you filed taxes or if you plan to file, you can click on that. But if you did file and you're including that, you obviously select yes. And you put in the tax year 2019. You can do that here. Or 20, let's just say 2020, and you put in whatever income that you made on your tax return. I'm not a tax expert, so I can't speak on where to find these things. You need to talk with a tax expert and also your lawyer to determine, which of the amounts on the tax forms they're asking for. And then you put in your total amount, your total income for the year. And if you didn't file for whatever reason, in this space right here, you can explain why. Maybe if you made less, which will obviously be something you would need to answer about, because the point here is to make more so you don't become a public charge. But if for whatever reason, maybe health, you were sick, you didn't work that previous year or something, you can explain that here as to why you didn't file. And that would be good. Here could be your spouse. If number 1 was yourself, number 2 could be your spouse, or however you put it like that. And then you keep going. Part 3 continues here, still asking the same thing of the income and the just other information about your finances. I think as we go down, it's going to ask you to select, to indicate whether you have other assets, like, other ways of getting money. It's going to ask that as we keep going. Here, it's just asking whether you received any of your monies through illegal activities, or whether you receive other additional income like child support and stuff like that. If you say yes, you would have to prove that you do with the child support document or alimony, whatever document that shows that you receive additional income other than what's on your taxes. You put that in there. And then what else? What else are they going to ask you here? Yes, this is just more information about the additional income that you receive. If you're going to keep getting that money, if it's going to stop at a certain time, you can indicate that here as well. You keep going, answering more information about that, who's receiving that money, who in the household, if it's a child, if it's yourself, you indicate that there, and it keeps going on and on. Like I said, this is the meat of the entire application, part 3, talking about your assets and your income and your resources, because it's going to help them make that determination that, okay, this person has all these, ways to get money, so I know that when they get their green card, they're not going to be a burden on the system per se. That's kind of the point of it. So here again, like I said earlier, you have the opportunity to list all your assets, the cash value, the amount in dollars. This is something you may want to talk with a financial advisor about if you don't really understand, all the numbers and your finances and stuff like that. And here you list all your liabilities. You have a mortgage, car loans, credit cards, personal loans. Just include all that here, because they'll do that math to see where you really are when it comes to your assets and how much you have. And further, this is like the first time they're asking for this in immigration history with checking the finances and stuff. They're asking now for your credit report and your credit score. I had a client ask me, do they really need my credit score? I was like, if you have one, yes, they do. And if you don't have one, you need to provide a letter as to why you don't have one. So you would say, yes, I have my credit score. If you've maybe lived here on a different status and you worked, or you have a social, like for example, a student changing to a green card, or you already probably have a credit report. So you'll pull that and include that in your application. But if you don't, maybe you came as a B visitor and you're adjusting your status and you never worked, you most likely don't have a credit report. So you would still need to go online. I'll put the link below where you can access your credit report. So go online, put in your information, and then it's going to come up and say they didn't find any report for you. You need to print that out and also add it to your application to indicate that you don't have a credit report. You could also write an affidavit to that effect, to a letter saying, to the best of my knowledge, I don't have a U.S. credit report because I don't have a social, and can explain that. But you still have to talk about your credit score, because that's important, because of what I've been talking about all day. Being able to have enough money to take care of yourself as an immigrant while you are in the U.S. So yeah, this is more questions about a credit score. Yes, no. If you have a negative credit history, which is something you will discuss with a financial advisor, you would have to explain that here, and why did it drop? Like maybe you had student loans or something, an emergency where you got sick, got an emergency debt or something, and it got put on your credit report, something like that. Just explain why you have a negative credit history, and they really want to see the totality of the circumstances. It's not a situation whereby, oh, you have a low credit score and automatically you are failed. It's not. It doesn't work that way. It's just you may have received public benefits, have current health issues, have poor credit. But if you're able to have a good explanation and support these things with other factors that could count positive for you, you could still win. But that's how it is. It's really about what can you show to pass, not really just one thing. Like, oh, once I have my health insurance, I've passed. So once I have this, I've passed. So once I have a good credit score, I've passed. It's not. It doesn't really work like that. So definitely worth talking to an attorney about, and just to work through it. I know it's a new rule, and you know, everyone just trying to understand it together. But lawyers have obviously other resources and experience working with other people who have gone through the same situation as you, so they can use that wealth of knowledge to help you make this process easier. I hope this is helping as you're looking at this form with me. I hope you're getting some tips that could help you with filling out your own form, or at least knowing where you need to be when you contact an attorney for your process. Okay. All right. Furthermore, is asking about if you've ever filed for bankruptcy, either in the U.S. or in a foreign country. You would say yes or no. If you have, you then have to tell them where you filed, when, what kind of bankruptcy it was, and just answering all these questions about that there. Still towards the same goal. So I've talked a lot about finances and just really gone in here. So I'm going to stop here for today. And next time I'll start with talking about health insurance and just that piece of the public charge and how you can possibly pass your public charge test and get approved for your green card. So don't forget to subscribe, like I always say, and hit the notification bell so you can be in the loop and we can dig into health insurance. All right. Anyways, yeah, so that's it for that today. I hope that you all have enjoyed this week's video talking about the public charge test, how to pass it, looking at the I-944, and just going into all of that. So I hope to see you here next week. Again, my name is Ife, immigration and business attorney. This channel is for tips and tools to succeed in immigration and life. That's it. That's it for today. Let's just stop talking. Yeah. All right. Catch you later. Bye-bye.